In this video, we're going to talk about shotguns. Shotguns 101. So I'm going to be doing some videos on shotgun-related subjects in the future, so I just wanted to kind of cover the bases. So the pump action, semi-automatic, there's even full automatic. You've got shotguns. They're still around today. They're not exactly outclassed necessarily, but there are some things that we'll learn in other videos, or I'll talk about in other videos that might be something worth considering. But realistically, looking back in history, the shotgun's been everywhere. The shotgun's done everything, and it still does pretty much everything. And it can do pretty much everything, but within limits, alright? So, anyways, you know, it's served everybody. It's served the hunter. It can take down pretty much any game in North America. Pretty much. There might be some exceptions. So it's served law enforcement for decades, almost a century. So the military has been using it for about the same as law enforcement, and you know, it's seen actual combat. It was basically something that the Germans did not want you to have on the battlefield. It was seen as inhumane to shoot someone with a shotgun. However, it still has served in the military. They still do issue buckshot, but they also issue breaching rounds. This is an Remington 870, one of the kind of shotguns that you might get issued, mostly Mossbergs though. But this is a breaching tip right here, so put this against something and shoot, and it should help blow off hinges, locks, etc. But anyways, with all that said, shotgun's still used in the military today. Still seen in cruisers, probably the 870, probably not the tactical version, but Remington 870s, Mossbergs, stuff like that. Still used today, probably mostly pump action, some semi-automatics. But, and for the regular, good old civilian, responsible gun owner, these things have been used for a long time to defend one's house and loved ones. So, there's a lot of things about the shotgun that we're going to have to go over, but just to talk about some features and characteristics of the shotgun, you need to realize that, first and foremost, this is a very hands-on weapon, whether it's a semi-automatic or a pump action. With a pump action, obviously, you're going to have to basically, you know, rack it every time, pump it, as the name implies, pump the rounds into it. So, when you're out of ammo, you're going to have to, you know, reload it in whatever way you can, and then, you know, top up if you can. So, anyways, that one wiggled out. So, anyways, this is a very hands-on weapon. You need to make sure that you're very comfortable with being hands-on with something and always working. You're always going to be working with a shotgun, and because it has limited capacity. And so you know, if you shoot 2 rounds, you gotta load 2 rounds. So if you're doing a reload, you need to do it in the most efficient manner possible. You can have side saddles, you can have, you know, shells on the inside, outside of the butt or the stock, as it were. So you can have a quick reload, little hanger here. You can have all sorts of things, sights on here if you want, but the shotgun can be loaded out, but it's still not going to take away from the fact that you need to be hands-on, semi-automatic or pump action. You're going to have to be hands-on with it. You're going to have to be quick. You need to be able to use this without looking, load multiple rounds in there, and you know, be ready to stay moving and keep being attentive to the weapon. So we'll talk about that in other videos, right? So the other thing is, this is actually a pretty short-range weapon. You're looking at within 100 meters, even with slugs. I mean, the thing is that, yes, you can get sights on here and try to get it accurate, but depending on the ammo you get, you know, you're pretty much, keyword being pretty much, because there's always exceptions, right? You're pretty much limited to within 100 meters. But the one thing that a lot of people love is the power that's put out by the shotgun. You're looking at something like a 75 caliber projectile being slung, 1 1/4 ounces, 1 1/2, stuff like that, 1 ounce. You know, you can get different weights and stuff like that. These things just being slung long distances, you can do 2 3/4, 3-inch magnum, and that's the other point of it, is it's so versatile. You can shoot anything from tiny little snakes. You can even shoot flies. Like if you were to load it up with fine granular salt and do a low charge on it, you see a swarm of flies, pew, you can do that. There's little salt crystals that you could probably load up and put in there. You could just toy with it or whatever. Obviously, be careful. But anyways, you can go from something really tiny. You can hunt something really tiny or take down almost any big game, use it for personal defense. Law enforcement uses this as a riot gun so it can shoot beanbags and stuff like that. They even have things like Dragon's Breath where it shoots a flame. I believe I've even seen areas where it actually shot little smokes. Shotgun, there were some little slugs or little smoke rounds where it actually would deploy little bits of smoke or tear gas or whatever. But you know, there's just a lot of things that this gun can do. But you know, they can be short, can be very long. There's a lot of different ones that have a lot of capacity in them, different sets of tubes like the Kel-Tec KSG, and you know, you've got other semi-automatics out there that are formed like AKs. You got a lot of versatile looks. You got a lot of versatile purposes, or you got a lot of purposes. It's very versatile. So it's pretty much a do-it-all, if you will. Now, in the following videos from this, we're going to discuss a lot of things. So one of the things is the manual of arms. And for the shotgun, the biggest thing you need to remember is that your reloads are going to be one of the most important things to concentrate on when you're practicing. You need to make sure that you're practicing, your reloads, and that you're getting very acquainted with, doing the speed reloads. Like if you're out on a pump action or even a semi-automatic, there might be a button like right about here that you might have to push. So you might have a side saddle with the brass up top. So you might want to grab it by the brass, drop it in, go under and hit the little bolt release, making sure that the handle's not hitting you in the finger and stopping it from going in the battery. I've seen that happen. Or with the pump action, if you have it up top, typically I just take it, go around, and there you go. It's pretty simple. So, from that, you shoot one round, you load a round when you have a lull, and you gotta learn to load it as fast as you can. Some are easier than others, but you'll find that out real quick. And again, we're gonna be doing videos on this. So the next thing is shell exchanges, where you have something in the chamber and then you want to go ahead and switch out that loading that you have. So it's kind of like doing an emergency reload but stopping the other one from feeding, so the tube never gets drawn from. And then look in the round that you're wanting to shoot, and there you go, you're good to go, depending on the model that you're using. So I'll be focusing on the 870. And the next one is malfunctions. So there are things that can go wrong with this. One of the most common ones is basically where you have this happen, where the shell wants to come out, but it gets trapped kind of like this. So basically, yeah, it's kind of like a stovepipe. The extractor just doesn't kick it enough, or the ejector doesn't kick it enough, at least on the 870. So you got to be able to handle that, no problem, if that does happen. So, of course, all these things are going to be discussed in the other videos. I've said that like a million times right now. But anyways, this is kind of an exciting, series for me to talk on, because I haven't pulled out my shotgun in a while. I honestly don't really use it that much unless I see a moose or, a dog or whatever, and usually they're gone before I can go get my shotgun. So, anyways, with all that said, I appreciate you guys watching. This is basically Shotguns 101. And leave a comment down below, give me a like, subscribe, and see you guys in the future talking more about shotguns.